Have you ever wondered why the Earth on Mars is red in color? It's all about the large amount of iron oxide that gives it that distinctive color. But here's the amazing thing, there are places in Utah that are almost nothing like that bloody planet. And that's just one of the many places that are strikingly unusual. But first, it's worth starting with our starting point in this state, namely Salt Lake City, if there's anything special here. Well, for example, the world's first KFC. The food there, by the way, is no different, but the very idea of going to the first place is something special. I guess there's no coffee here. Speaking of caffeine, Utah has more Mormons than any other state, so they don't use caffeine at all, and special caffeine analogs have been invented for them. For example, Swig is a popular cafe viewing chain with a large selection of decaf drinks. There's a huge range of flavors. You can mix and match them, or make your own based on what you like. Generally speaking, Mormons are followers of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This church was founded in 1830 by Joseph Smith, who Mormons believe received a revelation from God and translated the Book of Mormon, a sacred scripture that is an addition to the Bible. They have some unusual traditions. For example, they don't drink coffee, tea, or alcohol. Instead, they follow a health law that promotes healthy eating and physical activity. But Mormons aren't just about restrictions. They value family and education very much. They have many family traditions and are active in helping each other. In Utah, Mormons play a key role in the state, so their influence is visible in daily life, culture, and architecture. We even decided to go to the Utah Pioneer Museum. This museum was founded in 1957 and is housed in a historic building. There's a lot of vintage items, clothing and tools that were used in the 19th century. It helps us understand how the early settlers lived and how they built their lives in the new place. But who cares about that, right?
Me.
Basically, despite all the religiosity in the state, I like the city of Salt Lake City. It's surrounded by beautiful mountains, looks quite modern and clean. We didn't even see a single homeless person on the street, which dramatically differentiates this place from the same Los Angeles. The city itself is not very big. One day was enough for us to see everything we wanted to see. We even drove around the filming locations from the movie Salt Lake City Punk, one of my girlfriend's favorite movies. Before visiting the next place on our list, we decided to stop by Antelope Island. This is a state park where bison can be found. But we managed to do it, unfortunately only from the air. So we didn't stay here long and went on our way. We have now arrived at the Bonneville Salt Flats, which were formed by the drying up of ancient Lake Bonneville, one of the most amazing and beautiful places in America. The smooth white surface stretches to the horizon, giving the impression that you are on another planet. The ground here is perfectly flat and level, or rather not even ground, but essentially dried salt, which is perfect for all sorts of high-speed racing. The annual Speed Week festival is held here, where professional racers from all over the world gather to set new records. It's also where some scenes from one of the most famous adventure movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, were filmed. Definitely one of the most memorable places on our itinerary. We're going to Emerald Pools now. This is one of the haikus in Zion National Park. Generally, it is considered to be one of the most beautiful places in this park. Emerald Pools is a series of 3 reservoirs, lower, middle, and upper. Each one has its own unique look and feel. Depending on the time of year, waterfalls can be full-flowing or just trickles, as was our case. You should come here in spring or fall, when the water streams are at their fullest and the weather is pleasant. That's why we decided to come here in the middle of summer when it's especially hot. This hike is the perfect place for a short walk with stunning views. Two hours later, we are at another hike called Canara Falls. Hopefully we'll see the waterfall. Kanara Falls is a wet hike where we literally had to walk on water. You have to cross various streams and bodies of water and be prepared to get your feet wet. But the reward at the end of the trail is an absolutely crazy view of the waterfalls and streams that flow between the rocks. Incredible experience. Just as beautiful was our next stop, which was Bryce Canyon, one of Utah's most unique national parks. It is known for its amazing shapes that have formed over millions of years due to erosion and weathering. There are several viewpoints here, the first being Sunset Point View. This is probably the most popular observation deck of this park. From here, you have a view of the red cliffs and unique towers called Hoodoo. The second vantage point is called Perrier View. It's a less crowded place. Views of the eastern part of the park from here. Unlike Sunset, it offers a wider landscape and details that are not as visible from other vantage points. Far View is the third viewpoint in this national park. This place is perfect for appreciating the scale and grandeur of Bryce Canyon as a whole. There's also Rainbow Point View. This is the highest point in Bryce Canyon. From here you can see neighboring national parks and vast forest mahiwas. In fact, I didn't even expect Bryce Canyon to be so green. I've always associated Utah with the desert, but this is another part of it which incidentally is where we're headed next. We are at the entrance to Utah's most famous national park. The Arches National Park is famous for its arches, which have been formed over 1 million years by wind and water. Our main goal was Delicate Arch, which is famous enough to even be depicted on all the license plates of this state. But on our way to it, we also decided to check out Balanced Rock. It's this huge rock that looks like it's about to fall, but it's actually sustainable and has been standing there for so many years. This site is definitely an eye-catcher. To Kate Arch Deli, the distance to walk is about 5 kilometers, and the journey to get there itself is quite difficult. You have to walk on rocks under the scorching sun in a very dry climate. Yeah, going southern Utah in the middle of summer was definitely not a good idea. It is about 37 degrees right now and we are in the desert. As we walk to the archway, we have to seek any shade under every tree to get at least a little shelter from the sun. But despite the challenges, it was undoubtedly worth it. The view here is absolutely stunning, and now it's clear why the Deliquescent Arch has become the symbol of this state. This is the latest idea for our Utah trip. We are now on our way back to Salt Lake City. We are about an hour away from there in a town called Provo. Here are a couple facts about this place, by the way. Provo is the third largest city in Utah with a population of about 115,000. The city has a very beautiful landscape. It sits by a lake surrounded by mountains. Usually places like this don't have particularly good internet, but here it's the opposite. In 2013, Provo became the third city in the entire country to get super fast internet from Google Fiber, providing speeds of up to 1 gigabyte per second. The city is striking in its combination of nature and modern technology. The whole trip, I couldn't help but feel like I was on another planet. The red landscape in the deserts in the southern part of the state resembles Mars, and Bonneville Salt Lake is the most unusual place I've ever been. In fact, Utah turned out to be so big that 1 week wasn't enough time for us to see everything we wanted to see. So we will definitely come here again. But not in the summer, it's too hot.